because the truth is this: no matter how spirit filled or how strong you feel you are, that man below your waist has his own mind, has his own brain, has his own thoughts, and when he decides to wake up, you have to do a lot to keep it down.
Hi everyone.
I
Hi.
Welcome to my channel today. Today is a very special episode. Extra special, not just special, extra special because we have two amazing guests today.
thank you,
So
thank
because
you, thank
today's
you.
topic is very hot, very hot. So I know that I can't do justice to it. So I had to, invite two amazing people to, help me digest this topic and break it down so that all of us can benefit from it. So thank you all for joining. Thank you for
Okay,
watching my video today. So welcome to SC Speak. We talk about faith, love, purpose, and everyday life. And today we're looking at the topic. Okay, before I go into that, let us hear from our guests. Let us meet them. I'm sure you already know me, so I don't need to introduce myself. So can we meet billionaire? You can keep it simple. Anything you think you want to share, just let my audience meet you, please.
my name is Radiant Ikemini Tom, aka
Mm,
Billionaire
AKA.
Red. Thank you for having me, Esther, and a best man. It's a pleasure to be here. And of course, we're talking about family and all of that, and I'm happy to be part of it.
Thank you so much for joining. I know it was such a short notice, and thank you for accepting to be here. We are so happy to have you. Can we meet you, Mister? Am I? Is it right now?
Hello. Nice to meet everyone. My name is Obesman Nse.
Mm-hmm. Is that all?
I'm a, I'm a big man. And I'm, I'm not a billionaire rate. Maybe I'm a trillionaire. I'm a trillionaire best man.
Yeah, yeah, Zilonia.
Yeah.
Thank God for your
I'm a,
life.
I'm a father. And today is Father's Day, right?
Yeah, happy
Yeah,
Father's Day, billionaire,
happy
Mr.
Father's Day.
Radiant.
Today is Father's Day.
Already.
Yes.
Happy Father's Day, my love. Since you don't want to introduce yourself as my whatever, happy Father's
Sorry,
Day.
have we met before?
Eh?
Where did we meet?
We've not met before. How can we have met before? Anyway, let's not turn that into like an argument or let's take it.
Please, please, husband and wife, I
Let's
am,
take
I
that
am here.
offline. Okay, happy Father's Day. Yeah, and this question, I mean, today's topic is addressing men, so it actually coincides with a very important date. So, I mean, by the time you're watching this, it might not be Father's Day, but I mean, I'm so happy to have both of you, Radiant and a best man on my channel. So we'll be looking at sexual urges when it comes to men. I'm going to have another session for the girlies. So today is just for men. So let me give you like a background story what led me to, do this podcast today. So I read an Instagram story of a woman who, you know, she had a cesarean section. She gave birth to a child via cesarean section. And while she was still at the hospital, the husband was like disturbing her that he was having sexual urge, that he's not really okay and all of that, that she needs to like come back home quickly. And as God, if you give birth via a cesarean section, it will take a while before they discharge you because they have to be sure that everything is fine and all of that. So 4 days after, they discharged this lady and she went back home. And the man kept pressurizing her that he's not himself and all of that. And so she had to give in as a submissive wife that she is. She gave in. But and she gave in, she accepted it, and I think shortly after, not up to 2 hours, they had to rush her back to the hospital because her
Ouch.
life was threatened. She faced a near death experience. They had to do another surgery to keep her and all of that. And throughout the period she was in the hospital, the husband did not come to visit. Why? He was ashamed. When they asked him after, he said he was ashamed that how would he walk into the hospital they would think that, oh, you are the cause of this man's death, and I mean near death. So how would he face them? How would he face his wife? So he was really ashamed of himself and all of that. And that was when I read that, or like, oh my God, what is happening here? Like, as someone who gave birth via CS, I know what I had to go through. I know the healing process. I know all the things that have to come out of your body. And I know that it was not an easy task for the woman to have accepted. So that made me like, question. I mean, I'm not a man, so I don't know how a man's body is wired and all of that. So I just felt, okay, let's hear from these amazing men and how we can support young men, singles, married, when it comes to sexual urges. Because most people think, oh, it ends once you get married, but I suppose it doesn't end when you get married, right? It continues. So that leads me to the first question. And the first question is that, is it really hard to control your sexual urge? Like, given this man's situation, because I'm sure the woman was scared that, if I don't give you, maybe he'll go and cheat. I want to keep my husband, or I don't want him to go anywhere. Like, is it very, very hard? Like, is it that hard? What happens? So I want to hear first from Radiant. Can you like give your perspective, please?
Okay, I think let me start from first of all, before I talk about is it hard to control, let me talk about the fact that sexual urges differ or vary from person to person. Yeah. Um, it's what we call libido. Of course, libido is for a particular person, he may have a high libido, for another, he may have low libido. But of course, having sexual urge is a natural thing. It's not out of place. It is not that makes you a bad person or
Yeah.
makes you, some people feel like you talk about it, it makes them feel like they are spoiled or they are
You're
bad
not a
people,
Yeah.
Christian.
stuff like that. So it's a natural thing. In fact, if you don't have it, something is medically wrong with you. You should go and do a check. So, but then it depends on where your libido lies, whether you're on the low extreme or you're on the high extreme or maybe somewhere in the middle. So I feel like for this man, I don't know, for this example you've cited, I don't know where he is lying,
It
but
looks like it's on the high side.
any reasonable man who put your wife or in the family way, watch her through 9 months period, take her to the hospital, she does CS to birth a child for you, should be willing to control or keep all of those things in check and allow her to heal and recover before you want to go back into the whole sexual experiences. So now, is it okay? How to control? Yeah, there are a couple of ways to control your sexual urge as a man. Sometimes I feel like, especially let's say in the morning, many times as a man wake up in the morning, there's always the whole erections and all of the whole chemistry. Your body has relaxed, your blood has been, this erection and everything has to do with blood flow. So you've lied down for a long period, so your blood, everything has been accumulated. There's no activity, there's no stress. So by the time you wake up in the morning, you are very, very rejuvenated and your body wants to do the do. You understand? Now, you have to be, those are, I feel like for me, those are like the most heightened moments of
Yeah.
sexual urges. Or maybe when you are being seduced or tempted by somebody. Apart from those two circumstances, every other period you're probably working, you're busy, you're doing stuff. So I don't expect that you should be having all those things should just come in and be so high. So these two instances are like the most that like the instance where you have the most heightened urges, either early in the morning or probably when you're being seduced by your partner or somebody. So
Yeah.
you can
So
control it by
okay.
simply distracting yourself from that sexual thoughts or that whole thing that is happening in your body. I remember as a single person back then, um, there
You're
was this
going
thing
into
that
you're going into some of my questions already. Do you want to keep that first, please?
okay, okay, let me
I
leave
was
it.
gonna,
I was going to talk about one of the distractions, how I used
okay,
to
okay,
distract myself then,
okay.
because the truth is this: no matter how spirit filled or how strong you feel you are, that man below your waist has his own mind, has his own brain, has his own thoughts. And when he decides to wake up, you have to do a lot to keep it down, you know. So I remember those days I would go and see my wife, who was my fiance then, and maybe when she hugs me, or maybe, we get to talk, and All these things will just start.
The Lord is on the throne.
So I will just use that and pinch myself somewhere, and the thing will just pain me. And so now the attention in my mind, my brain has moved away from the sexual desire to the pain, which is feeling somewhere. You know,
Hmm.
that
Very
that's
wise
one of
word.
the that's one of the instant things that like I used to do just to get out of that moment of that immediate urge or desire. So basically, you can control it. You can take a cold shower. You can take a cold shower. You can just go to
Oh,
look for
really?
something else
Cold
like
shower. I didn't know about
yeah,
that.
so is it cold
Like it
shower
will
or
kill
warm
the
shower?
urge
One of the two
once you take a
showers,
cold
anyways.
shower.
So I think it just depends on it's part of it is not really the shower, it's just the way of more like distracting yourself. So you can do something that will distract you. That's just what he's saying.
Thank you for that brilliant insight. Yeah, it shows that, I mean, as a man, you have to like understand your body and know how to work with your body. So that means it's not that hard to control if you understand your body and know your triggers and know how to like prevent yourself. That's one of the things I'm getting from your I got from your conversation. So I'm going to throw this question to Mr. Bestman. Now, this is because I mean I know that when we had our first baby, I mean our only child for now. Let me not talk like we have two children already. So had our first baby. It took us like 2 months before we returned to sexual
Yeah.
activities. And what was that 2 months for you like? As in how were you able to like handle yourself during that period? And was it really hard? I mean, if you were not sexually active before, I mean, as a single man, I think it might be easier because maybe you're not like sexually active, but then like have to stay for a prolonged period of time. Like, what were the things you did? Were you really, was it difficult for you? What advice do you want to give to men in that situation right now?
Okay. I think before I even maybe what I should say is okay. So talking about the first question, maybe let me just start the um when we had our child, yeah, this is what I'm saying, first child. Maybe God
You
is
guys
saying
have like
something.
15 children already.
When we had our child, and I think like you said, it's about 2 months or
Yeah,
so.
8 weeks. Yeah.
So, the thing is, let's say the first 2 3 weeks or 4 weeks, looking at how you wear yourself, there's no man in the real sense that will even be feeling like having urge for sex or anything because you're looking at your wife the way she was looking so helpless and everything. How do
Was
you
I
even
looking
want to start?
helpless? Excuse me, sir.
No, no. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, you can see, like, that she was really struggling. That's the right word.
Yeah,
I might have to use, but it's still like helpless now, kind of. You really needed help,
I needed
like especially
healing. Healing.
it's still part of help.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's still part of help, and the way I could help would be to abstain, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Now that doesn't mean that you will not have sexual urge, because of course we grew up in a very pretty conversative environment where talking about sexual urge was almost like a taboo or it's being addressed with a bit of shame.
Yeah,
So, but like most people, we have to figure out our sexual urges by ourselves, right? We navigate this part ourselves. With sometimes we made mistakes, right? Full of confusion and I would say mixed curiosity, like a guy, that when you are curious about this thing. Why is this thing happening? And you
very
wake
true.
up in the morning, you see your clothes is wet, and you're like, what's going on? And you're trying to navigate what's going on as a young man. So, and we did not really figure all this thing out by people helping us, but we just made mistake and knew it ourselves. But over time, I've come to realize that urges are natural, right?
Yes,
And but how you manage them is what really make difference. So how I manage it as a person when my wife put to bed would be that, come, this thing is first, this thing is not in control of you, you are in control of it, so you bring it under your own subjection,
yes,
not allowing yourself to be controlled by the sexual urges. So that was the first thing. You need to understand that first thing is you are in control. You have to make sure that you are in control. So I always see people say, this thing, something must kill a man. No, it's not everything that should kill a man. Something must not
must a
kill a
man
man.
die?
You should first know that If this thing killed you, you are gone. Yes, must the man die? Exactly, must the man die? So I mean, I cannot control. It's a lie. You can literally control it. Doesn't mean it's not powerful. It's very powerful, and nobody would. You can. You must realize that this thing has a very strong. It's very powerful, but how you control it? It totally depends on you. You must bring it into a subjection. That first, I'm superior to this thing, and you must find a way that works for you. Like Radiance, maybe take cold, but get something to distract you. I mean, there are so many
So
things that you can
for
do.
you, what did you do? I want to hear from
Well, first of all, I have to make a put in my mind that it's not possible. That alone helped me. So I already know, okay, this is not possible. First, okay, it's not going to be possible.
so it's a
So
mind
if
game then. It's a mind game.
yeah, so, yeah, if the urge come, I just know that it's not possible. We have to deal with it first. There's time, and you cannot trade your wife's health, your in for 2 3 minutes sexual urges, which is not good. So I will always say that you first realize that okay, this thing is not possible right now. So it's really of a mind game. Once you know how to deal with your mind, you control it, then you can now know, okay, now what next? Am I going to maybe am I going to listen to something? Am I going to listen to music? Am I going to talk about it? Am I going to, like Radiant say, pinch myself? Am I going to maybe take a walk?
Yeah.
It just depends on, but you need to first of all realize that you need to conquer it in your mind.
Yeah.
That it's not possible for you to have this sexual urge.
Yeah,
That's
I
first thing.
totally agree with you. Thank you so much for sharing. And I think one of the things I picked out from your conversation is the fact that if a woman marries a kind partner, someone who is considerate, this will not really be an issue because if you see that, oh, this person is just like me being helpless, like you said, or me being very, very sick, like
Yeah,
if I want to do I want to like jeopardize this person's health? So if you marry a kind partner, the person will actually be considered like, okay, right now the priority is not how I feel. Yeah, how I feel is important, but right now the one that has more priority is the health of my wife or whatever stage she's in. So if we can tackle that part, then we can resume whatever we've been doing before. And you have like many years of sexual activity. So why do you want to, like you said, waste 2 or 3 seconds based on how you're
yeah,
feeling at the moment? Thank you for sharing. So I have this other question. I'm going to throw it out. Both of you would speak. Because you both are married. Oh, you didn't introduce yourself as a married man. Please, for all the single ladies, please, he's taken already. His career is taken. He's married, so nothing is coming out from that side. So the question is like, was it hard when you compare your life as a single person to now that you are married? Was it harder to control your sexual urges when you were single than now? Because I believe that there will be times when you have to like separate yourself from your partner, maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, you travel and all of that. Because many people think, oh, once you're married, everything ends. So was it harder when you were single to control your sexual urges than now? Or like what dynamics does the dynamics change? I'd like to hear from both of you. Whoever is ready to speak first should go ahead.
Was it
Mm.
harder to control
Or do you need to
then?
control now? Because you're already married, right?
Control.
But I mean, I talked about distance. Yeah.
Yeah. No, of course, even though I'm married, there are circumstances whereby you know that even though you have this urge, you can't do anything now. Yes. Of course, my wife travels a lot. We do business, and that means that either I'm traveling or she travels. So there are those windows where she's traveling or I'm traveling, and nothing happens within that period. Or occasionally, maybe she's down in health, and you know
You
that
cover.
you've got
Yeah.
to allow this woman to recover and all of those stuff. So so there are also those periods. But then I feel like it's more
Mm.
difficult now, or you're more tempted now, because when I was single, I was staying alone. There was not a woman around me on a regular basis. And then, my wife would just wear something very, very nice and just walk past. And then, just like I said earlier, there are two instances where you are highly,
I
highly,
think.
where your urge is heightened,
Mm-hmm.
either when you're being seduced or early in the morning. So I feel like now I'm living with her. I see her every day.
Mm.
My wife is very beautiful and very attractive. And then, all those things just makes you every second you want
So that means
to
the man had a
understand.
point.
Let's not go further. Now,
So that means that man, the earlier story,
you
the
said
man had
what?
a
I didn't
point.
hear
The
you.
reason why the guy said, please come back home and all of that.
No, that man's case is different because his wife was sick. Like I said, if my wife is sick, no,
Yeah.
you have to be able to find a balance to control it. Because your wife, not in fact, as little as malaria may be, we are sick for a short while. This one, someone did CS. No, no, you can't.
Okay.
That man needs deliverance. His case is different. Now back to what I was saying. So it was. I think it's much more difficult to control for me right now than when I was single. Because being single, I just said, okay, there's nothing. So you know that the default is to distract yourself. The default is to you avoid the temptations. The default is just to find yourself in places whereby
Mm.
you don't have to. But now
Yeah.
the default is that you are tempted on a regular basis. So the default is that you are with your partner. The default now is that you are married. So after all, the only difference is that now you are sure that, okay, if you hold it
It's
for a while, your
guaranteed.
wife is going to come around, your wife is going to come back from the trip, or if you hold it for a while, she's going to recover and you get to do it. But then you just that you're holding it for eternity. So you just have to walk around trying to control it, suppress it, so that it doesn't have the best of you. So I think that's like
Okay,
my
thank
own
you. Can
balance
I
from
hear
when I
from
was
you?
single and now I'm married.
For me, I don't really feel I don't really feel um it's any much different. Like in terms of when I was single, I just know that I was single, bro. And I I doesn't mean I don't have urge. I have it, but I was very and I was very careful with what I feed myself. Like I was extremely careful because I know my weakness.
Mm.
So to even so I make sure that I set system that it did not happen. Even if it comes, I think I told Jeffrey one day, Pastor Jeff. I say anytime it comes, you know what I do? I'll just say galat, I'll just blast in tongues. And I it works for me. No matter how you want to say it, like you say you pinch yourself, it works for me, bro. If it comes, I will just immediately turn on any tongue speaking music. I'll just put it loud, put it in my ear like this. What imagine the act of doing that alone is a distraction. Just having to get my phone and look for message or look for something alone already configure my
Yeah.
mind. Okay, this is not going to happen. So not that I have someone coming to visit me.
So
Yeah,
basically, you feed
yeah,
your
not
distractions
that
that
I'm having
moment,
someone
yes.
coming to visit me, not that I'm having someone that is cohabiting with me. You understand? In fact, even when I was almost to stay alone after my service, a best girl, my sister came in. So there was nothing like I'm going to have anything who I'm going to maybe because most of these urges comes when you begin to have something that is going to trigger it. Like you say, I mean, we are human, whether you're married or not. Even as a married man, if you are not careful, you get yourself to a point that any girl seduce you, you lose it and you begin to so that you must make sure that you set boundaries. So while I was married, yeah, I had a very strong
Why? No,
boundary
you are
that
still married, sir. Yeah.
sorry, while I was single, sorry, I
Okay.
meant did I say married?
Okay.
Did I say married?
While I
Did I
was
say while I was married?
please remind him he's still married.
So that was sincerely, I actually thought that I actually thought I
While I
said while
was
I was
married.
single. Yeah. So while I was single, I set boundaries really helped that really helped me. Now coming to speak as a married man, now it's even easier when you are not married. This is where I was going to go. It's easier when you're not married because you've not tested this sexual urge. You don't know how it is. Now, for those of us who are maybe like waited, so now we are married.
There are some people
I-
that are not married that have tasted.
so that's what I'm saying. For those of
Comes
us, I'm talking
harder.
speaking from a perspective now. Now, for those of us who were maybe we actually had waited, now we are married. We're like, okay, this is how this thing is. So it's much difficult to control sexual urge when you're married
Mm.
than when you were single because now you know how sweet this thing is.
Oh.
You know how lovely this thing is, and you're like, oh wow, this is what I was actually missing.
Mm.
Now, if you don't, if you're not careful, you're going to be like that beast, that guy that was not able to control his libido enough to be able to put the wife into that kind of critical situation.
Yeah.
And the bad thing about it that it always comes with shame afterwards. Those kind
Yeah.
of things, it will come with shame. I mean, I know of someone. I may not
Yeah.
mention name. I know of someone who literally, if she said tell the husband no, she received beatings.
Oh, oh, that's
No matter how she feels. In
Hmm.
fact, even if she's flowing that
That's
period,
crazy.
oh my God.
I'm just
That's
saying
not good.
an oga don't they item. You don't dare say no.
Mm,
Because at that point, oga can do anything. It's like a possessed someone that is being possessed. It's so bad.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it comes with some
Yeah.
form
So,
of
and that's
force.
because this person have not subjected this to I've not put this into subjection for a very long time. I think I've now taken over its life.
Yeah.
So it's not that it was easy when I was not married. No, it's just that I had a structure that really did not allow me to feel much of sexual urge on like. But now you're married, you're married, so you've loosened up. When it comes, you're like, okay, I can just control, but so I just indifferent. That's what I'm saying. I cannot really quantify which one is so was easier and which one wasn't. But because I actually had set a structure while I was not married, so that's why I look as if it was easy for me. But no, because people are really struggling with it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Thank you. So it shows how this powerful weapon that can bind, relationships and marriages together can actually destroy it as well. So I think that takes me to my next question, which says that can sexual urges ruin
Yeah.
relationship if unchecked? When I talk about relationship, I'm talking about marriage. Can it ruin relationship and marriage? Like, and is I'm going to put two questions together, and is one night stand justified to an extent? Like, you travel to a new location, you don't know anybody, nobody knows you, and all of that. You know what people say about one night stand, and if you want to bring the Christian perspective to it, that would be great as well. So,
So let me. The first question is okay, you're asking two
yeah,
in one questions right now. Can sexual urges ruin a relationship, and is one night stand justified? First of all, of course, sexual urges can unchecked sexual urges can ruin a relationship. Um, Also, let me say this because we're talking about sexual urges from the men perspective, and it's important to know that the
yeah,
woman biology is different from the male
yeah,
biology. As much as we're talking about control, um, the men tend to have more sexual desires. Some men, because there are also some women that have better
true.
higher libido than some men. But the men tend to, you sample men and women, you tend to have more men that more. Which is why you check online, you see stuff about a wives
Ye-
complaining that the husband is always looking for sex and all
It's
of that and
food.
all of that. That's because for the
It's
male,
food.
I think according to biology, whether the hormone is excreting whatever
Mm.
on per second billion and all of that. So they tend to have more higher, cravings, desire for sex. So the urges are more for men. And I feel like sometimes the women need to also understand that as much as you would like this man to control it, this thing comes natural. And if you control, sometimes it feels like,
One night stand is the
um,
option.
how am I going to put it? It feels
Mm.
like you're leaving him hanging. You're leaving him hanging, which is why some men go out, because sometimes women, wives in the house, feel like I have this man. So because of that, we can
Weapon.
always, there's time. We can always, and then the girls outside are like, I have him for just one time. So they are not willing to wait, they're willing to do. But you in the house, you're willing to
Yeah.
wait, and you're trying to tell the man to wait with you. So I feel like as much as we are advocating for men to actually have their urges under control, women should also understand that these men also needs this thing done when sometimes when they need it done. This is a way to balance the urges and keep it so that
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
does not ruin the relationship. It does not ruin the relationship. And the beautiful thing is this: there are several ways. Sex is not only penetrative. at least for married people, there are other ways, you can actually satisfy your partner within marriage, satisfy your partner sexually. So in cases whereby maybe you can't do penetrative sex with your partner, there are other ways you can do to help your partner at that moment. The most important is that keep it so that everything is under control and is kept within the home. And what I'm saying is that the question was if sexual urges can ruin relationship, and I'm saying that yes, it can. And in order for it not to be ruined, there have to be a balance. As much as the men should put their urges under check, try to control, the women should also make themselves readily available, or many times as much as they can, to help their partners, so that excessive control will lead you to out of control. When, like I said earlier,
Mm.
Yeah.
we are more tempted being married than when we were not. Because I literally see my wife every
Yeah.
day, and as much as, and she's in the house, she moves around, she wiggles her waist and all of those stuff and all of that, and you are tempted, you want to hold her, and she says no. And then after a couple of hours or minutes, she says no. And then you're still controlling yourself, you're controlling yourself, you're controlling yourself. It gets to a point whereby you're like, what's up? You're leaving him hanging or drying. He tries to distract himself and constant. And after a while, some people just, get out of control. So I feel like the best we can do is let's balance it. So that's it. Then is one night
Yeah.
stand justifiable? The answer is no. The answer is no. There is no English. There is no whatever that can be said to justify it. As far as you are married, you have a partner. Of course, you should stick with your partner.
Yeah. Your commitment is to that person,
Yes.
so be loyal
Yeah.
to them.
Very important, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
All right. So for me to answer that question, can sexual urges ruin relationship if unchecked? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So it's not just sexual urges. So let's assume if you keep acting on impulse on everything, right, without thinking about the consequence, then it can lead to challenge in your marriage, maybe cheating, maybe emotional distraction or emotional distance. Some people literally get distance themselves emotionally from their partner because maybe they are like Radiant said to build up from there. You keep asking and the person keeps saying no, keep asking, the person keeps saying no. Over time, it becomes a norm in that relationship, and before you know, you find yourself that you're emotionally distant from each other, and that's a loophole already. That's where the devil would want to come in, and before you know it that is when one small witch from village will just find a way and send you a message on maybe on
Why is the person a
WhatsApp.
witch?
I'm using the word witch because because they are monitoring spirit. They know
They
when you guys
know
are
they will
having
just
issue.
come in. Phew.
like like and this thing funny enough, this thing I'm saying right now is actually true. So mostly for those that have a distant relationship, a lady was posted on Twitter. He said that anytime the husband travel, look at it. There's one guy in his office that knows, and that any in
Okay,
our
in our
office that
office.
knows.
Okay.
Yeah, anytime in our office that the guy the guy always get one. He knows that the guy knows that he's married, but every time the guy always try to give sign. And this thing happens mostly
When your
when
husband travels.
Husband
the
travel.
husband is yes, and it was like this guy is a monitoring spirit. That's why I say which. And she was just making it like you have to tell the guy, come, are you aware I'm married? I'm just making like sometimes imagine that at that point that they have not been emotionally close together, that the lady had been staffed because of course we are talking about guys now. Let's assume it was the other way around, it was a guy, and now the wife is out, and 2 months that have been struggling. I know people that stayed in marriage for like 4 months, 5 months. They can't remember when the last time they had sex because it's always a problem. And of course, now imagine in that situation, because this person have struggled so much, have been deprived of sex and everything. So at that point, he or she might almost work on it, might allow sexual urge to
He's
control
waiting
the
for
person
explosion.
because it's good
Yeah.
for explosion.
One night
That's
stand.
why we need to help each other. We need to help each other. So it can really lead to cheating, emotional distance, or even broken trust. That's why we need to always make sure that we sometimes talk about our urges, talk about it with our partners, talk about it. It is very important to talk about it openly.
Mm.
And you cannot shy away from talking about sex with your partner because
Yeah.
it's something
Yeah.
you're doing. Talk about how you feel. Talk about how you would want to be treated because talk about how you feel if it happens that way. So you need to know, okay, this is how I'm feeling at this point. And you can, I mean, it's something we talk about every time. So I believe everybody should be able to talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Now, it will help you make sure that when maybe help you know that this person got you no matter what, that you know that this person got you and you are good. Then talking about one night stand, is it justifiable? It can never be justifiable. And whether you are married, single, one night stand is one night stand. I
Mm.
mean, yeah, one night stand is one night stand. Like you just meet someone. I don't know if it was you already and I shared with when I went for Weri one ministration. I just started my life. I was in the university and I went for my first program outside Calabar was in Weri, one concert. And I went to Imo State for the program. And after ministering, someone came to knock on my hotel room, said if I need is it comforter?
Holy Spirit.
You
Is it
should
the
the
Holy
Holy
Spirit?
Spirit. You should the Holy
Someone.
Spirit.
That was the exact word. I can never forget. I remember after that night I called my mentor and we laugh over it.
Comforter.
I'm telling you.
Was the person from the church or it was just like random person?
No,
No,
I
Okay.
hotels,
don't know.
most some
That's their
hotels have
work.
that as
Maybe
extra
because
service.
yes, yes. Because I did
Hmm.
not know it was not a very, very big hotel kind of, it was just a struggling church. And me, I was looking for opportunity. When it came, I was so happy. So I'm like, oh yeah, let me go for the program. I was so happy, like because it was more like my first event outside in Calabar. So I was really excited to join the program, to go for the program. So it was not very, very nice hotel, yeah, but at least it was a place you can sleep, then go back the next day. The
Yeah.
person came, okay, I just thought it was room service. Like me, in fact, that was even the first time I stayed in an hotel. Let me just be saying here. That was the first time I stayed in an hotel. I was like, I'm a big boy. I'm a big man. See me at the hotel. Someone came and knocked if I need comforter. In my life like this.
So,
At first,
what was your
and
response?
you see how ignorant I was. At first, I did not understand because she was well dressed.
Mm.
So I'm like, I just comfort her, like, I'm trying to understand. Then all of a sudden, it just clicked. I said, "No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Before
I'm
You
you
know,
fine."
say
I
you
don't.
know,
yes.
I had a
I
similar
just touched my
experience.
throat,
I had
like,
a similar experience some years ago, still around the east, and then
Mm.
I went for an event, and this one wasn't even in a hotel, but some persons in the community, just got interested in me and almost literally offered herself to me. And somehow I was able to find a balance to just, push, change the conversation and just, just, it would have been just what she said, one night
yeah,
stand or one time stuff and all of that. But then I was able to drive the conversation away from that and nothing happened. And now,
Mm.
fast forward many years later, me and the said person became friends. And we now find ourselves in
Mm.
a place where we have mutual friends that have known me from way back school. So imagine what would have happened if something had transpired and then these mutual friends, it will be awkward.
Yeah.
It will be very, very awkward. And so that's just the whole
yeah,
thing. I like he said, it's not justified whether you're single or you're married because you don't know what can happen or transpire after that or what it can lead to. And
yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. That's really, we're about to wrap up. So before I ask you for your last words, to singles and to married people, I have one last question. And it has to do with, masturbation or porn as a way to, help yourself when maybe your wife cannot satisfy you as maybe not satisfy, maybe a person's not present and all of that. Does that hinder self-control or does that like help you to like help you during that period? Like, do you understand the question?
I am trying.
Should I rephrase it?
Okay. I think
So the question is, do you think that masturbation or porn can help you to, relieve the sexual urges, or it hinders your ability to control yourself in a situation where you don't have your wife available or you're single?
okay. So the this conversation now is about Christian, because when these
Yeah,
topics
Christians.
is a topic that cuts across different social beliefs and
Yeah,
religious beliefs and different lines. So for a lot of people, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter. Even couples, it may not matter. But then on the part of the
yeah,
Christian faith, it matters. Yes, it matters a lot.
yeah,
And of course, I know that there are a lot of things that happen within the confines of marriage that it's a consent, it's a two-way
it's
traffic. It's a
personal.
two-way traffic. So anything that you and your partner seems to agree to be able to do or whatever, I feel like it works for you people. uh It's just that some things will invite a third spirit or a third party. uh So I just feel like when it comes to that aspect, it's a conversation between the two partners.
Mm-hmm.
So if the
Mm,
husband and the wife have a have some form of agreement or consent or something that works for them as regards that. For example, some persons can even do some partners in a long distance relationship. I'm talking about married partners now. Can do what we call sexting or sexual video calls or stuff like that. Just sometimes it's meant to create some form of heightened desire before the person comes back, or all of those activities. So I just feel like when it comes to this aspect, it is between
it's
it's
personal.
personal between the husband and the wife. That's my own opinion. Whatever they're able to.
But does it hinder? So the question is, does it hinder self-control, or does it like help you to relieve yourself? Does it help you,
Eventually, to
like,
help
do you
you relieve
understand the question now?
yourself. That's what it does. It helps
Mm-hmm.
you relieve yourself. But now, self-control. What are you controlling against? Are you controlling against the urge, or you're controlling against going to cheat? So that is where, because if you're controlling against going to
yeah.
cheat, yes, it
Okay.
has helped you relieve yourself than going outside. But then, if you're controlling against the
Mm.
sexual urge, it doesn't mean that the sexual urge is not going to come back the next minute. It's going to come back the next minute.
So it's a temporary measure. It
No,
doesn't
it's
like
temporary, of
solve the
course.
ultimate
Yes,
need
it's
then.
temporary.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Thank
For
you.
me, for me, if I want to answer that question, sorry, Radiant, I caught
No, no,
you.
I was done.
I don't know
Yes,
if
I was
we're
done.
through. We're done. Okay. If I want to answer that question, I want to look at the long run. So let's talk about masturbation first. If you want to masturbate because of sexual urge, then truly the thing is in control of you. That's why you're trying to look for way to deal with it. So that means you still have an issue. In the issue you're having is that you've not really
Learn how to.
control. The thing is in control of you. So the question should be, you need to be honest to yourself. Are you in control of it, or is it in control of you?
Okay.
Now, once you can answer that question, you now need to understand, why do you want it? Why do you want to masturbate? Because, like it or not, there's this book, there's this script, there's this thing. I'm speaking now as a script Christian now. They say a little leaven, is it leavening the whole
Yeah.
loaf for the lump, something like that.
Yeah. When you give space for something. Yeah.
So it's like in bread, when you add yeast, no matter how small it is, it would make the bread, the flour rise.
Yeah.
Now you add more, it rise. So it rises more than more. So that means every door that you open comes with a spirit. When I mean spirit now, not it's like an addiction, not like
A
a
demon.
demon spirit. Yeah, no. Every door that you open comes with a spirit. So majority of I think if about recently statistics shows that most married men are struggling with masturbation more than single people
Wow.
recently.
Right. Does it mean that the wives are not giving them? That's why
Now,
they result to that. Oh,
that's
or they've
because
agreed.
most that's because they thought that when they get married, that they will not they that masturbation will go automatically because they are having active sex. But that has already old grief of them. So they are now in bondage of masturbation, even after they've gotten married, because masturbation became more rampant in our age limit. Let me use that word, than it used to be in our parents, because of what we are being
Yeah.
exposed to. Our parents were not so exposed to social media, movies with sin. In fact, during our time, if you watch any movie with X rated, they will fast forward it.
But,
Don't see a kiss. You must not see a kissing scene.
You are watching movie with our parents, you can't even see it.
in fact, you even wonder how
In
your
fact,
parents
if you see it,
gave birth to all the children.
your eyes like this. Yes, they fast forward. Even when you're watching it alone, you want to fast forward it because it
Yeah,
became
I
a problem.
remember. By default, you want to fast forward it. Yeah, I just
But
remember now.
now you want to see it more.
You want to see how
In
it's
fact,
happening.
what they even used to advertise the trailer now is the sex scene because they know
You
that
want to
that's
sell
what's
it.
going to keep people to come and watch the movie. Yes. So now, because of that, in our generation, like the age that we are now, we are in marriageable age now.
Sexual
So we are now
exposure is
married.
very high
So
now.
we've taken that
That's
into
just
our
it.
marriage. Yes, we've taken into our marriage, and so we were already struggling with addict masturbation and everything. Now we're married. We thought that it's going to stop, but we are still continuing. We are still doing that. A woman came to go to urinate one day and saw the husband downstairs. He was jaking, he was masturbating. That was the first time she shocked because he has come downstairs thinking he's studying, he's thinking he came to study or maybe do some work because he work like some of us we know we work at night, only to come down.
But he could have just asked his wife. So that's okay. That's why he talked about the fact that it could be like, yeah, a spirit, like a spirit of
Yeah.
addiction. Okay.
You actually thought that. So even what it does that it even satisfy you that at the point that you don't even need your partner. That the research is showing that this thing would satisfy you more than you don't even want to. You deprive your partner of sex because you yourself you're satisfied.
Mm, okay.
So
Okay.
because so it now make you deprive your partner of sex because most and maybe the devil just if you're unlucky, you marry a woman who is I'm talking for the guy now, a woman who does not just want to act. You know, some women don't want to act, they want you to initiate it every time. That means you've gone to satisfy yourself, so you're not initiating, and she's staff of it. So you do it, you deprive her of her benefit. Let me use that word. So in the long run, you shouldn't think and start what you cannot finish because in you won't be able to control it. Over time, it becomes an addiction, and once it becomes an
Yeah.
addiction, it's a problem.
Okay. Yeah. I see your point. I
Yeah.
see your point.
So that's where masturbation comes, and masturbation goes hand in hand with porn, or pornography goes hand in hand with masturbation. They
Many
are
times. In
together
fact, every time.
because over time, yeah, many times they are together. So you rather not get into like okay you're watching like I know of married people this that they watch porn together for them we are watching with ourselves so no problem but that's a problem because now you are looking at someone else
They're bringing
doing
a
it for
third
you to
party.
learn that means you are bringing a third party into it. Meanwhile, you can literally explore this thing yourself. Try things. If it doesn't work, and okay, this one did not work. I mean, you can try several things. But now you're trying to look at something. Something would happen one day that one person is not around and the other person is watching it. And because you are watching it, you need to
That's
satisfy
true.
yourself. That's why ladies now are buying sex toy and everything
That's a
everywhere.
$1 billion business
Why?
market industry, business industry.
Yes, by the way,
Mm, mm.
$1 is $1 worth. That was the
Wow.
most. I think
Really?
it was the highest selling product last year.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, in Amazon. It was the highest selling product last year in Amazon.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Oh, that shows how yeah, like I mean I agree with you that you have to so the ultimate answer is the fact that it does not, help you to control yourself, rather it
Yeah.
worsens it, right?
It worsens it. That's the word.
Okay.
It
Okay,
worsens
yeah.
yeah.
it.
I think yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, it's been really interesting hearing from both of you today. So we're about to bring the session to a close. Thank you so much for giving me your wealth of knowledge. I now understand the man better. Some questions that, I would naturally not just ask. Well, I mean, I've heard from both of you, and it's great that you guys have similar perspective but in different ways. Someone is more funny than the other. Let me not mention who is the best. But it was really, really good to hear from both of you. So I want you to give us like last words for singles out there based on the topic we've talked about. Any last word for singles out there? Any last words
Mhm.
for married people? Because this, like we said, this topic cuts across both singles and married. So, any last words from both of you, and we'll bring the session to a
So
close.
what I'm going to say is for single people. Someone once told me this while I was still single. When it comes to sex, don't start. Don't
Hmm.
start.
Mm.
The moment you start, you won't be able to
My
stop.
my my cousin told me. My cousin said the
So
same
the
thing.
moment you start,
Mm.
you won't be able to stop. So that's my advice for single people. When it comes to sex,
So, what are people that have
those that have
started?
started,
People that have started, uncle.
find a way to stop.
May the Lord
The
give
Lord will help you. That's all I have to say.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mr.
for me,
Bestman.
my parting word would be it's normal to have sexual urge.
Mm.
It's a natural thing, yeah. And to some people, we need to find out at what moment yours comes. Like Red answer, some most times when you wake up as a young guy, most times that's when your chemistry is so heightened. But to some people, it is when they are on in during the stressful or emotionally low period. That's when they feel this sexual urge. Meanwhile, some people is when they are very happy, so they are looking for that's when they are like urge. So everybody have when they feel very heightened. So like for those who are struggling, maybe during their low period, is they're just looking for a means of escape, right?
Something to
And
calm
that's
them
more
down.
like
Yeah.
comes to something, and that's why you find them getting more into masturbation, pornography, and going to patronize prostitute and everything. And before long, you hook in it, you cannot come out of it again. So sometimes it's not even about the desire; it's just that they're looking for out the way
An
an
outlet, yeah.
escape route, which in a long run, you get hooked. You can't come out of it easily because you feel like I can stop it. I can stop. Over time, you cannot stop it. So I would say, find out when you are much trigger or more trigger, and yeah, and look for how you can you can deal with it, because once you know the root of your problem, then you can solve it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but first urge, I think I shouldn't use the right words. It's not a problem. Sexual urge is not a problem.
It's
Let me
not a
not use the word
problem.
problem.
Yeah.
The
Once you
control is where the problem is. The
once
lack
you
of control, rather, is where the problem is.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So it's lack of control, that's where the problem is. So we need to know what triggers you more, then recognize the pattern that help you gain better self control.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Do you want to
Yeah,
say
I just want to say
something,
thank you for
Mr.
having
V?
me. It's
Oh, you're
been
done.
a beautiful conversation.
Oh, I should thank you guys more, man. It was really an interesting session. Thank you so much for sharing your wealth of wisdom. I believe that my audience were able to learn from you guys. So if this video, was really interesting, you loved it, please like it, share it, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel if you've not subscribed, so that it can reach more people and we can help, more people out there, both singles and married. And there will be another edition with the women, with the girls. So women can
I think
express
I think
themselves, because I know that women also we feel these
I
things,
like to I
right?
like to watch
We
that
can.
to hear
one.
from Esther. We need to hear from Esther
But
Radiant.
I have
So
questions. I
I'm
We
would
need
like
gonna.
to hear from
consent.
Esther Radiant.
Yeah, so the next
We need,
episode will be the girl with the girls. No, you
we
can
need
send
to
your
hear from
questions. We'll take it. We'll take
from
it.
Esther Radiant,
Yeah.
because the way she was just say she's not a marriage counselor. Now,
But okay, no problem. All right, thank you guys. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Happy Father's Day. God bless you as fathers and men in Jesus'
Amen.
name.
Thank you.
Amen.
man,
Bye.
Bye.